exhausted but empathetic tone. Your team relies on you. They ask a question, you give the answer. But slowly, the questions multiply. Before long, you find yourself completely submerged by the endless inquiries of a team that cannot seem to move without your explicit permission. If you feel crushed by this constant stream of demands, you might assume you hired poorly. But for highly conscientious, capable leaders, the real trap is rarely poor intent. The trap is overhelping. The psychological pattern plays out identically every time a team member comes to you. You listen to their problem, you care about the outcome, you immediately see the correct solution. You jump in and rescue them. This diagram illustrates the resulting feedback loop. An issue arises, the manager solves it, and the team waits. By constantly supplying the answer, you train your staff to wait for direction and avoid taking risks. Deeply dependent, unmotivated teams are almost always accidentally manager-made. Author Michael Bungay Stanier diagnoses this exact dynamic in his book, The Coaching Habit. He argues that breaking out of this trap doesn't require adopting a massive, abstract theory of leadership. It requires rigorous conversational discipline. You cannot work harder or faster to escape the answer machine. True relief comes entirely from systematically rewiring the daily conversational habits that built the dependency in the first place. The first step is admitting that managers get psychologically addicted to giving advice. Stepping in feels highly efficient. It is immediately reassuring. Most importantly, it confirms your identity as the vital, irreplaceable expert in the room. Breaking that addiction requires a specific behavioral shift. You have to develop the discipline to pause, reflect, and ask questions instead of immediately telling people what to do. Effective coaching in this framework does not mean a formal, hour-long intervention behind closed doors. It consists of practical micro-skills deployed in under 10 minutes during ordinary day-to-day work. 2 questions stop the reflex to step in. What's on your mind opens the dialogue. And what else prevents premature closure, forcing exploration. Finally, what's the real challenge here? Cuts through the drama to isolate the actual problem. Deploying these specific questions forces a direct transfer of power. You stop operating as a reactive solver and step into the role of a proactive thinking partner. This conversational discipline becomes critical in high-tension environments. On conflicted teams, people often approach their manager armed with heavy assumptions, resentment, and predetermined conclusions about their peers. The standard, flawed reflex is for the manager to absorb these emotional loose ends and mediate every single exchange between staff members. Disciplined inquiry stops that. Asking people to articulate their real challenge slows down their assumption-making process. It forces the employee to pause and confront their actual role in the tension. This intervention effectively shifts their posture. They can no longer engage in passive problem dumping. They have to engage in active recommendation making. Conversational discipline restores clarity, restores ownership and structural boundaries, moving past surface politeness. However, there is a clear danger to this model. If you deploy coaching questions blindly, without cultural intelligence or an analysis of power dynamics, coaching becomes a subtle weapon of abandonment. Asking an employee, "What will you do next?" is toxic and actively harmful if workplace expectations are undefined, or if they are facing real, impassable structural barriers. Leaders cannot individualize systemic harm. You cannot use reflective questions to sidestep the manager's duty to fix broken, biased environments. This visualization shows the equilibrium required for mature leadership. You must rigorously combine the work of building individual agency on one side with actively seeing and managing the broader structural context on the other. Try this practice this week. When a team member brings you a problem, resist the reflex to fix it. Let the silence hang in the room and simply ask what the real challenge is for them. The ultimate goal of leadership is surrendering the need to perform expertise. Instead, you become the stable presence that enables others to think, own their work, and grow within a fair system.